Hello and welcome to a News at 9 special feature. This is your anchor, Thomas Kretzik, and today we will take some time to recap the other side of the 50s. This side of America that did not receive all the benefits of the decade. We will now show a feed of our reporter Mackenzie Ritter in Philadelphia.
Hi. As many of you all should know, we are in a process of urban renewal. This process is used to help many people without homes. Mostly, it was used for the 1950s migration of African Americans and Puerto Ricans, even though it was referred to as the Housing Act. About 99% of the residents were black. The first city that this project was aimed at was Pittsburgh, and that took place in May of 1950. Pittsburgh was known as being an economically depressed and rundown city. What better place to start renewing in? How it works was by demolishing and repairing certain sections of a city at a time. Some places accepted the change, while others denied it because they were scared of being isolated from everyone else. World War II attracted thousands of African Americans to work on building and creating a new place to live.
Well, isn't that nice? It's good to see things work out like that, isn't it? Next up, a commercial break from our sponsors, Levitt & Sons. Then the story will continue with a spotlight on immigration.
Okay, welcome to Levittown. It's a little bit of heaven with 800 square feet, including 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a living room, a kitchen, and an unfinished second floor to be whatever you want. This is a completely new way of living with 4 locations. The story of Levittown goes like this. After World War II, William Levitt had an idea. He decided to build low-cost housing for those returning from the war. He, commissioned by the Federal Housing Association, created an assembly line-style group that would erect a house in just 7 minutes. Less than 3 hours after selling started, over 1,400 homes had been bought, so you know they are good.
That sure looks like a nice place to live, and back to the show. Next up, we go to our reporter Jordan Grossman for a feature on Mexican immigration. He will be telling us what and how it's all happening.
In fairly recent news, Operation Wetback was imposed in 1954. Thousands of illegal immigrants were forced back to Mexico. The decade of the wetback, as it is known, is a time from 1944 to 1954, where the number of illegal immigrants coming from Mexico increased by 6,000%. Before Operation Wetback was created in 1954, more than 1 million workers crossed the Rio Grande illegally. Why was there such a substantial increase? Cheap labor, violations of labor laws, discrimination which encouraged criminal intent and illiteracy. According to a study in 1950 performed by the President's Commission on Migratory Labor in Texas, the wages for workers on Rio Grande Valley received approximately half the amount of wage paid in other locations in Texas. Operation Wetback moved northbound and illegal immigrants were repatriated back to Mexico through a railway in Ojinaga, which is across the border. The force used to repatriate the immigrants was a small force of about 700 men. There has been no confirmation on how many immigrants were repatriated back to Mexico.
That is a bit of a somber note to end our story on. Well, what an interesting decade we had, but now we will wrap up this special with a message from the whole crew. Good night and good luck.